What's going on, guys? Wonder Productions, and I'm back here with another top 10 video. This video will be the top 10 most interesting releasable nations in EU4. Releasable nations have been around since the beginning of the game and provide a new dynamic with interesting historical nations as well as fictitious nations. This video will include not only the most powerful nations, but also the nations I consider the most interesting. So that means even if it's an OPM, I consider it a fun and unique start for the game. So if you disagree with this video, because this is my personal opinion, you have the right to, but just don't get angry at me because I put one country above another. Anyway, let's get into the video. First on the list is the Kingdom of Northumberland. The Kingdom of Northumberland can be released from the Kingdom of England at the start of the game and contains 5 provinces and a total of 33 dev. With the part of northern England, the Kingdom of Northumberland is situated to invade Scotland as well as Ireland through the sea. Alongside this, the Kingdom of Northumberland is in a very interesting position, weakening the Kingdom of England and meaning that the island of Great Britain has 3 competitors on it, not just 2. I personally think it's a very cool start in order to play a dynamic against England and Scotland, maybe ally one of them and fight against the other. It's a cool nation, and it has some historical context, with it being its own independent nation and kingdom until the invasion by the Danes and later the full conquest by the Southern English. So that's why I put it at number 10. At number 9 on the list is the Kingdom of Lyon. The Kingdom of Lyon starts off with 5 provinces in the Iberian Peninsula. It uniquely flavors the Iberian Peninsula by weakening the strongest kingdom on Iberia, objectively the Kingdom of Castile, especially post-Iberian wedding. The Kingdom of Lyon was an historical nation, spawning out of the Kingdom of Asturias, and was later merged with the Kingdom of Castile, who it royal married and was eventually integrated into. The Kingdom of Lyon is very uniquely situated to invade Portugal as well as Castile, depending on what nation you release and how your dynamics work out. I personally think that's a very cool and interesting start because of how it changes the dynamics in the Iberian Peninsula and how it historically has a lot of prominence in the history of the region. And that's why I put it at number 9. At number 8 on the list is the Duchy of Tirol. Tirol also has historical prominence, with it being its own independent entity before being annexed and incorporated into the Habsburg/Austrian realm. Tirol has 3 provinces, but has 29 dev, meaning at the start of the game it is a very developed area for such a small region. Tirol has a unique position, being surrounded by OPMs, Venice to the south, Switzerland, and Bavaria, plus Austria. Weakening Austria means that you may be able to invade Austria, plus Venice is always vulnerable to you if you get a strong ally, and the OPMs are very ripe for your picking. Also, being in the HRA means you have some protection from the Emperor, but if you're invading the Emperor, you don't really have as much protection as if you were being friends with the Emperor. That's just to be honest. I personally think that it's a very cool area to start because it spices up the dynamics and the actual power within the HRE, weakening the strongest nation in the HRE, Austria, and meaning that you can maybe even knock Austria down a step and become what Tyrol maybe should have been, the Tyrolean Empire. Anyway, I just personally think that it's a cool area and very much changes the dynamics within the Holy Roman Empire, and allows for you to have some fun with some alternate historical scenarios. At number 7 on the list is the Duchy of Herne. Spawning off of the Ottoman Empire, and this is the first nation of 2 I will release from the Ottomans. Herne definitely weakens the Ottomans by taking 6 provinces from it. Not only that, but it shows the earlier proceedings of the Turkish beyliks within inside Anatolia before Ottoman domination. As you can see, the Turkish beyliks are still around in the south and the east of Herne. I personally think it's a very cool start because it allows for you to invade the beyliks as another beylik, which means that the Ottomans not only are weaker, but it provides a new scenario for you to play within Anatolia. Continuing on this, if you release all the beyliks that you can within Anatolia, the Ottomans become much weaker, and it creates a very cool scenario in the region, with a power gap from the Ottomans being significantly weakened. Herne has 49 dev, and is prized to invade Karaman and Ramazan, and maybe even ally the Mamluks to invade the Ottomans. I just think it's a very cool area to start in, and if you know anything about the Turkish beyliks and their invasions, maybe you could repeat that, but instead of invading the Byzantine Empire, you can invade the Ottoman Empire, spinning off history and yet another alternate history scenarios, which is very cool to think about. Now traveling all the way to the coast of East Asia, we can see a new released nation inside Ming, Wu. Wu has historical precedent from the Warring States period, and makes a very interesting return in EU4. If the Ming explosion happens, you can release many other nations from Ming from the beginning or through the Ming explosion to create an interesting Warring States-like period scenario. But from the start, Wu is very strong, containing over 140 development and a very large area on the coast. First, you could either release these nations from Ming, as I said before, or you could bide your time waiting for Ming to explode while you colonize Taiwan, the Philippines, and other areas. Wu is very centrally located inside the coastal areas of East Asia, meaning that if you want to, you could try launching an invasion towards Korea or Japan. I personally think it's cool to knock down Ming a peg and maybe try to infiltrate and weaken Ming. But with Wu, you can maybe become a colonial empire, like some people play Japan. Personally, it's a cool area, and some people may enjoy it, while some people may find it boring to be surrounded by big Ming. At number 5 on the list is one of the largest releasable nations at the start of EU4, Kazakh. Kazakh contains 18 provinces and over 90 dev at the beginning of the game, making it one of the strongest and best located EU4 releasable nation. Kazakh is very large and situated in the modern state of Kazakhstan, where the name Kazakh, of course, comes from stan, means people. Kazakh, they're the stan, it's the land of the Kazakhs, the people Kazakhs. Kazakhstan is a very cool area, being released from Uzbekistan, or Uzbek, one of the largest areas, or largest hordes in EU4. I personally find Kazakh very cool because of the nations that surround it: Transoxania, Nogai, Chagatai, and Oirat, all nations of relative similar size. With this, you weaken Uzbek and create a power vacuum in Central Asia of an even greater degree, meaning that if you get good allies and play right, you can conquer all of Central Asia, reuniting the once great horde empire that existed under the Mongols. Personally, at the beginning of EU4, hordes are kind of hard to play. I may go into this later at another tutorial or time-lapse or let's play and just talk a little bit into this. But it's fun to start off in a centrally located horde like Kazakh, unlike being the Mongols, for example, where you're bordering Ming and Ming may invade you and force you to be a tributary. Kazakh is a cool start, and is definitely one of the most interesting and powerful releasable nations. At number 4 on the list is one of the many splinter/releasable states from the Great Confederation that is the Kingdom of Lithuania. My personal favorite is Chernigov because not only its size of 8 provinces, but also its location bordering another total of 4 more nations, not including Lithuania. This includes Odiev, Ryazan, the Great Horde, and Crimea. Chernigov is very well located to invade these nations or invade Lithuania with the help of Poland or Hungary or Teutonic Order or many other nations. I personally like Chernigov, especially also if you release these other states which Lithuania has acquired, because it creates a very interesting power dynamic as well as situation in Eastern Europe. Chernigov is a very cool area, not only because of the way it changes the dynamic within Lithuania, but also because of, personally, how it changes the Poland-Lithuanian Commonwealth and Muscovy's needs in order to invade the Commonwealth itself. So personally, that's why I like Chernigov, alongside the fact that Chernigov itself is Orthodox, meaning you get the Orthodox benefits and bonuses if you have Third Rome. Now, the second of the releasable nations from the Ottomans, along with the Retina, is the Princedom of Bulgaria. Bulgaria itself starts off with 7 provinces and 77 dev, making it the largest releasable nation from the Ottomans. Alongside that, it starts off with Orthodox. As I talked about before, you get the buffs from Orthodox, making it, personally, what I think is the strongest religion in EU4. I may go into this later. Bulgaria has a unique situation bordering the weak states of Albania, Serbia, Hungary, Wallachia, and Moldova, alongside the Byzantines and the Ottomans. Bulgaria itself significantly weakens the Ottomans by pushing their presence in Europe far away. Also, because it can invade Byzantium being next to it at the start of a game, it weakens the Ottomans even further by not allowing them to take over Istanbul/Constantinople. I personally find Bulgaria a very cool start, especially if you want to play with some friends and mess around with the Ottomans or other nations, because it really changes the power dynamic of the region completely in the Balkans. And because of how strong it is, you can quickly form a great empire out of Albania or even Serbia, or if you ally Albania and use their strong generals, you can quickly take down the Ottoman Empire. Personally, if I were you, I may want to try out Bulgaria if you're a newer player, and make sure you get allies with Hungary in order to make a cool, fun, alternate history scenario. Next on the list is the kingdom that significantly weakens Ethiopia and also contains its own religion at the start of the game. This is the Jewish kingdom of Simeon. Simeon has a very unique position in the fact that it has the Jewish religion, which while may not give the greatest bonuses, allows for some role-playing and alternate history scenarios, making it very interesting to play as a releasable nation. Alongside that, it weakens the heavily reliant on vassal nation Ethiopia, meaning that since Ethiopia has less and less development, it may not be able to fight off the Muslims of Adal and the Mamluks. If you play Simeon right, you can create a Jewish empire of your own. Personally, as a Jew, I'm kind of messing around, but personally, I think it's kind of cool to have different religions and be able to play them in EU4. Even if they don't really help you out, it allows for some cool scenarios and some alternate history in your head. Of course, you could always make custom nations, but because this is actually still Jewish on the map, and because of the Bait of Israel Jews, it's kind of cool to play as Simeon in EU4. Now for some honorable mentions of nations that almost made the list but didn't, starting off with Man, followed by Finland, Gotland, Luxembourg, and finally Galicia. These nations are all very cool and provide interesting starts to EU4, but personally I do not think they are deserving of top 10. Now for number 1 on the list, occupying most of the starting nation of Sirhind in EU4, the Princedom of Punjab offers an interesting start, kind of like Simeon, in the fact that the religion Sikh will spawn in the nation in about 100 years from the start of the game. Sikh is a very powerful religion, allowing you a boost of morale and other buffs, making your nation in EU4 very strong. Alongside this, Sirhind's political demographics are surrounded by weak nations, especially with the weakening of Sirhind and Delhi, allowing you to quickly invade these nations and create a wonderful Sikh empire. Personally, I find it very fun to play Sikh, and releasing Punjab means that you can unite northern India into a great empire. So anyway, these have been my top 10 EU4 most interesting nations. Tell me what you think in the comments down below, and tell me your list, and also other videos you want to see in the future. Anyway guys, bye!